We're going to have a go at making beef stew. So we have Arthur Guinness himself here, a can of Arthur Guinness. We've our beef, diced up beef cubes, stewing beef. We have our peppers, we have our parsley, we have our potatoes, we have our mixed veg, we have our mushrooms, our garlic, our onions, olive oil, tomato puree, diced plum tomatoes, and some beef stock cube. Alright. So all of the above there all cost about €20. So we're going to have 8 portions of beef and Guinness Casrole for Sunday lunch. So here we are, we're getting all prepped up now for the beef and Guinness stew. So we have our veg prepared, we have our beef is still there, our mushrooms, our Arthur Guinness is still here. So we have our potatoes all ready to go, and we have our beef stock that we're just after making just on the boil there. So what I'm going to do is now I'm going to chop up the onions, the peppers and the garlic, and I'm going to get ready now for the next stage. So our veg is all chopped for all the different stages. We have our peppers all battened up, we have our onions sliced, we have our parsley chopped, we have our garlic crushed, we have some onions for when we're frying off the beef, finely chopped, some peppers finely chopped. And so we're going to start putting the casserole slash stew together now. Alright, so as I said there, we have our stock, lovely beef stock on there, boiling away. We're going to get ready now to cook off the potatoes, and we're going to start frying off the beef. Okay, so there we go, and we have our beef frying off in there. So we're going to add some sea salt and some black pepper into the beef. Okay, so before I do that, I'm going to add in some sugar. Sugar is a great, the stew is going to be a little bit bitter because of the Guinness is in it, so we're going to put some sugar in to brown off the beef, and also to sweeten the beef as well. Okay, so frying it away there. Okay, and the beef frying off. Okay, you can see it's changing colour there. So the juice has reduced there in the beef. So what we're going to do is now we're going to add in our can of Guinness. Alright, so we're going to add the Guinness now. Okay. Nearly 3/4 a can of Guinness. So I'm just going to let that boil away, bring it to the boil, and then we'll add it into our stock then. Okay, so there we have it. We have our beef. We fried it off in olive oil. We added some sugar, and we added our garlic, and we added the onions, chopped onions, finely chopped onions, finely chopped peppers, finely chopped parsley, and now we've added in the Guinness. Alright, so we're just going to let that cook away for a few minutes, and we'll see how it goes. Alright, in the meantime, we have our potatoes on there simmering. Our stock is still simmering away. Just have to reduce it down there, and just have to get a nice colour about it. And our Guinness and beef is coming along nicely. Now, so our beef and Guinness is just about ready to add into our pint of reduced stock. So that started off at about 2 pints of stock with 2 stock cubes, so we're after reducing it down now in the last 20 minutes down to about 1.5 pints. So what we're going to do is now we're going to add the Guinness beef into the pot with the stock. Alright, so we just have to be careful about we do it. Get the pan down nice and low, and then in it goes. Alright. So we're just going to give it a stir now. So the stew is starting to take the casserole is starting to take place now. You can see it now, lovely brown stew. We're going to add in our vegetables. That's our leeks, our carrots, and our celery. Okay, it's going in now. Okay, we're just going to give that a stir. Okay, we're going to add in our can of chopped tomatoes as well. Okay, so we'll give it a nice stir. As you can see, everything is starting to gel now together. The stew, the casserole is starting to look like a stew or casserole. Okay, so we're just going to let that simmer away for a couple of minutes. So our stew is starting to simmer away, so we're going to add in a tablespoon of tomato puree. So we're just going to let that fall in there. Okay, just put that to the side there so you can see lovely colours again of the beef and the Guinness, the vegetables, the garlic, the carrots, the onions, the peppers, and our lovely brown beef stock. Alright, so we're going to let that simmer there away for about 30 minutes. Okay, so we're going to bring it to the boil, and then we're going to turn it down, and then we're going to let it simmer for 30 minutes so the beef gets nice and tender in the casserole. Okay, lovely. Right, so we're 25 minutes into our stew here, or casserole slash stew. So you can see there from a distance it's all starting to come together. So in the meantime, we're going to heat up our pan, right? And what we're going to do is now we're going to add in some olive oil, and we're going to start frying off or sweating off our peppers, mushrooms, and our blanched potatoes, right? So a little bit of oil on the pan, just a little bit. So you hear the sizzle now. Whoop. Alright, so on we go. So we're just going to saute off our onions and peppers here. For a minute. And we keep an eye on our stew as well, just to keep it stir. Alright, so it's just simmering away. We're going to do 30 minutes on top of the stove, and then we're going to do 30 minutes in our casserole dish in the oven. Alright, so here we are, we're just sauteing and drawing the flavours out in relation to our peppers. Alright, so what we're going to do is now we're going to add our peppers into our stew. Peppers and onions into the stew. I'm just going to give it a little bit of a stir there. Alright, so we can see the lovely colours coming in. So we're going to put a little drip of oil on the pan. So we're going to add in our button mushrooms. So again, we're going to give them a good stir. We're just going to saute them off, get a nice colour into our mushrooms. Hear the sizzle on the way there. Stew. It's gone well. So everything is starting to take place. Our stew is just nicely cooking away. Our mushrooms here. Our mushrooms. We're going to do the saute off here. We're going to add our mushrooms into our sauce, into our stew. So our potatoes are nice and they're nicely sauteed off there as well. So we'll just give them a stir. They're just about ready now to go into the casserole. Alright, so we're just going to add the potatoes now. Again, get the pan down nice and low when you're pouring anything into pots, so there's no splashes. So we're going to give this a good stir. Let's see everything that's in it there: mushrooms, onions, peppers, carrots, leeks, celery, stock, garlic, Guinness, beef, everything. All our ingredients now are all into the stew. So we're 30 minutes into the stew being on top of the range. So what we're going to do is now we're going to just let it simmer there, and we're going to put it in the oven. Now our casserole is a little bit thin, so what I'm going to do is now I'm going to thicken it up. So what I've done here, I have some flour and some olive oil. I'm going to give it a stir. What this this is what they call a Swiss roux. So I'm going to give the Swiss roux a bit of a stir there with the whisk, and make it form a nice thick blended consistency, right? So what I'm going to do is then, so this is the thickening agent for the stew. You can use corn flour, which you dilute with water and you add in, or you can make what I would like to call a Swiss roux. It's just a couple of tablespoons of olive oil and a couple of tablespoons full of flour. So our roux is ready. Okay, so we're going to add our roux into our stew. Okay, and we're going to give that a good stir. And then you'll see before it goes into the oven, our stew or our casserole is going to start to thicken. So you can see it there, we're just stirring away. It's starting to thicken there. It's in the form of lovely consistency. So we'll just have to putting the stew or the casserole into the casserole dish now. And what we're going to do, so we're after doing about 35 minutes on top of the cooker. So what we're going to do is now we're going to cover the casserole with tin foil, and then we're going to place it in the oven for another 35 minutes, just for it to cook out and for the meat to tenderize. So there we go. Our casserole has gone into the oven, so we're going to put it in for another for 35 minutes. Okay, so we're going to close it up. Just going to turn down the dial a little bit, just below 200. Okay, so there we go. It's cooking away. So there we go. There's our beautiful Guinness casserole, ready to be served just out of the oven. So 2.5 hours. Hey presto, a beautiful Guinness casserole. So I'm just going to serve it up now. It's probably going to be about 8 to 10 portions of casserole there, so it's going to be nice today, but have a guess what, it's going to be even nicer tomorrow. There we go, folks. Some people like to serve casseroles on plates, or some people prefer served in bowls. So as I said, 2.5 hours, and we have a beautiful succulent beef Guinness casserole. Beautiful.